Cleveland Guardians heading into the All-Star break in first place, just like we all expected, right? Got there a little bit unconventionally, and there's a lot of questions ahead. The Guardians may be heading into the All-Star break, but that doesn't mean we're taking a break here at Locked On Guardians. They've got a lot of questions to answer in the second half. We're going to talk all about that today on a jam-packed episode of Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Locked On Guardians. We are brought to you today by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper Picks, and you could win 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. Solo episode for me today. I'm Justin Latta, your host of Locked On Guardians. Jeff Ellis is handling some other things today. His wife's birthday. Happy birthday to Jeff's wife. Deserves some time off to hang out with the fam, and also going to be running a lot of draft content over at Locked On Prospects. So here's what you can expect in your feed if you're not already listening to this and have already heard it. But if you're still checking around, you'll have this episode from me. Jeff will be helping out Locked On Prospects and our buddy Lindsey Crosby for all the draft-related stuff. You'll see some stuff posted on our YouTube channel to break down the Guardians pick, and then Jeff will probably give you a podcast based on the Guardians' first three picks on day one of the draft. So lots of content coming your way over the next couple of days between the Major League team and the draft and some other stuff as well. But we're here to talk about the Royals series. The Guardians took 3 of 4. No sweep versus the Royals. Tough day for Shane Bieber. Started off pretty good. Got himself out of trouble a couple times with his defense and a pickoff. That was good. He really cruised the first couple of innings. I mean, the home run to Kyle Isabel, not a great one. I'm sure he'd like to have that one back. But, things kind of got weary on him again in the third time through the order. This continues to be a theme for Shane Bieber, as we've talked about multiple times this season for him. The third time through the order is not getting any better. I don't know if I want to say the loss is all on him anyway, though. The Guardians only mustered 1 run versus Ryan Yabrough coming back off of an injury, quite a break there. And Ryan Yabrough has not been a good pitcher this year. I mean, the guy came into the game with over an ERA of over 6. He leaves with it under 6. Not, the best work from the offense. They did get thrown on the bases twice. I know Jeff and I have been preaching that this team needs to run the bases more, and they got, caught on the bases twice. And quite frankly, they didn't muster a lot of offense. Maybe you can say that they ran themselves out of some innings in that case, but I would probably say no. I think that they need to continue being aggressive with this offense, although the offense did a good job against the Royals, but we also want to be too careful not to overlook beating guys like Jordan Lawler, or I guess it was Amir Garrett they beat on Thursday. Friday, able to put a hurting on Daniel Lynch just enough to win the game. And then Saturday night's game, we're going to talk a little about Saturday's game because they did beat up on Brady Singer quite a bit, but the things kind of got out of control. They didn't need to. We're also talking about the good defense there. So starting with Shane Bieber, though, real quick, 3 times through the order this season, an ERA of 7.07 now. Hitters have a 5.78 slugging percentage against Bieber, third time through the order. This is a pattern, and I got to be honest, I didn't really care for Terry Francona's quote at the end of the game, at the end of the press conference after Sunday's game, talking about how, most people have asked him now about the third time through the order of Bieber. First, it was Zach Meisel, our buddy, and then Andre Knott, also our buddy. Both have, said, hey, are you seeing something different with Bieber third time through the order? And really, I think he described today's outing as kind of weird. Things kind of got hectic on him the third time through the order. But look, the third time through the order, Kyle Isabel hits a home run. And then he gets the first out of the inning on a ground out with Melendez. Fermin doubles, who Fermin's hit some balls hard against the Guardians this series and last week. Isabel hit another single. Michael Massey tripled. I'm sorry. I think when you're giving up extra base hits, and I don't even know, those hits were hit kind of hard. I mean, Isabel's single, 102. Fermin's double, 102. 100 off the bat. So those things happen very quickly for him, and this is how it generally unfolds for Shane Bieber. Things get out of control very fast from that third time through the order. Guys start tattooing him. And yeah, Tito said he didn't see anything different with Bieber. the third time through the order. Stuff looks the same, and I think that's the problem. Stuff looks the same. I will say, as far as pitch mix goes on Sunday for Bieber, we saw a lot of knuckle curves from him. I think the last couple outings, we've seen an increased usage in the knuckle curve, and that's a good thing for him because that was, and again, we don't want to take too much out of 2020 because 2020 is just not, it was a weird year for everybody. And trying to extrapolate any of that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that's the pitch we saw the most of in 2020 was the knuckle curve behind the fastball. Not a lot of sliders today, a lot of cutters, didn't have a lot of success on the cutter. Guys were on it. The fastball guys were on as well. And the curveball was a little better. He got 12 swings on the curveball, 5 were misses, 3 were called strikes. So out of the 12, he threw 20, and about, let's say, 15 were strikes, and 16, 17 were strikes out of the 20. That's a really good percentage for him. So I'm gonna at least say that's a positive sign for Bieber. But 40 fastballs against this team, and he's had a fastball heavy approach against guys throughout the season too, and it's worked to an extent. But you just have to worry that the pitch mix for him is just not working the third time through the order, because that's what it is. It's about variation. It's about having the stuff to turn a lineup over. And let's see, the pitch looks like a cutter got him in trouble in the 6th inning, a slider, the home run to Isbell was a fastball. I mean, that's what happens. I think it's just guys are sitting on pitches from him, and he has a hard time turning the lineup over. This has been a consistent theme for him all season long. I don't know what they're going to do with Shane Bieber. We're going to talk about that in the third segment as we finish up this episode about will they or won't they. And I just really don't know where this team is going in the second half. But look, they are in first place. The Twins got their lunch handed to them on Sunday by the Orioles. So the Guardians have played 90 games. There's 72 to go, and they remain in first place. I don't know what's going to happen with this team, truthfully. I think they're better off with Shane Bieber right now than they are without him. But I'm going to get into that more later. Look, this was a good series against the Royals. They did earn a sweep. That's a good thing. Gavin Williams, easily his most dominant start as a rookie so far. Surprised by how low his strikeout rate has been so far, and I think a lot of that has to do with A, fastball control, but B, I've talked about it before, he doesn't have a very varied arsenal. He has to go fastball slider to right-handers, fastball curveball to left-handers. The changeup's not really a big weapon for him. He's gotten some success with it, but, against the Braves, it was that changeup that hurt him a little bit. And, it may not matter what you throw to the Braves. You might be able to have, peak Randy Johnson facing them right now, and it may not matter. Maybe that's the guy you need. I don't know. But still, we'll take it as a good start for Williams, and he was able to locate his fastball very well. Got a lot of swings and misses on that. Build on that for him. That's a positive step. Tanner Bybee going back to Thursday, battled his control. We didn't really talk about that Thursday. Thursday as well, Trevor Stephan was good Thursday night. A perfect inning for him. 3 batters faced, 1 strikeout. We'd like that. That's a good return to see. Aaron Savali, I guarantee you wouldn't, if I told you this coming into today's episode, going into the second half, quote unquote second half, because there's already 81 games been played, but Aaron Savali has the lowest ERA on the Guardians. Now, he doesn't have the lowest, I think he also has the lowest FIP, actually. Yes, he does. Aaron Savali, lowest FIP among starters going into the second half if you exclude Tristan McKenzie, who has only made 2 starts. So out of the guys who have made more than 2 starts, even though Savali's only made 9 himself, lowest ERA and FIP going into after the All-Star break. Wouldn't have predicted that out of all things. That was very interesting to see, but he was fantastic. And again, I know against the Royals, but 9 strikeouts, a lot of them looking. Trevor Stephan also perfect in that one, 3 batters faced. And Emmanuel Clase, a perfect 3 batters faced and a save on that one as well. And then I know some people probably not loving the fact that Tito used Emmanuel Clase in Saturday's game, but Emmanuel Clase didn't pitch Sunday. He's not going to pitch Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday because the All-Star break, because he's going to go home to be with his pregnant wife. They know that he needs to go home and see her. That's what the Guardian said. So who knows how long this has been on his mind, if anything's going on there. And, he won't be pitching. So that's a good thing. He, a trip home to see his wife who is expecting and getting a nice break for Clase, not throwing in the All-Star game. That might be just when he needs to have a good second half of the season. I want to talk a little bit more about the second half, or I'm sorry, the Saturday night's game, the defense, and how things kind of spiraled on them on Saturday. And I want to talk about Josh Naylor, how impressed I've been with him as a hitter recently, and why I think the Guardians, should look more at his prototype, and just thoughts on the second half overall in just one moment. Want to let you know that today's episode, or today's sponsor, is BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Give their online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/lockedonmlb. Get on your way to being the best self for your loved ones. Sometimes we're all faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. I know Jeff's talked about his battles with anxiety. I also struggle with anxiety in certain situations, and I feel like therapy might be a good route for me. And BetterHelp is a really good option to give that a try if you are thinking of trying to find a way to improve yourself. You can give them a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. And if you feel like you're a match with a better therapist than the one you're working with, you can switch at any time for no additional charge. So let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonmlb today. You're going to get 10% off of your first month. So not only are you making yourself better by trying therapy, you can also do it with 10% off. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonmlb. Guardians are going to be on a break a while, but when they come back Friday against the Rangers in Texas, you can listen to Tom Hamilton and Jim Rosenhaus on the call of that game on SiriusXM. Just search Guardians on your SiriusXM app, and you can probably check out all the All-Star stuff on Sirius as well, including the draft, if you search for that on the SiriusXM app. Saturday night, look, Gavin Williams was fantastic Saturday, no doubt about that. That game, though, against the Royals really bothered me how it got kind of out of control fast. I mean, the Guardians were up big early, and it was, 6-1, right? 6-1 when the Royals finally got on the board, or 6-0, I should say, or 5-0. It was 6-1 after the fifth inning. Royals got 2 in the sixth and then 2 in the eighth. In the eighth inning, really, things could have turned on their head. Had we not had the defensive play from Miles Straw to Andres Gimenez to Bo Naylor. And really just want to point out how perfect each of those plays had to be to execute and get that last runner out at home to keep the score 7-6 Guardians before they were able to pull away. Of course, they did challenge that at home, thinking that they were going to tie the game at 7 apiece. I should say it was 7-6 Guardians when they scored that run. It might have been 7-6, but it was 7-7. Just a fantastic play, though. I mean, Miles Straw playing that ball off the wall, barehanded to save some time. And then if he doesn't barehand that ball, that play doesn't get made. The Royals score that second run. So it could have been 7-7. Andres Gimenez in the right place at the right time on the relay throw. Even had the jump to get a little bit. Let's not discount Miles Straw's good arm in center field. But great throw from Gimenez. And then Bo Naylor, great technique blocking the plate. Or I should say not blocking the plate, actually. He had his left foot in front of home plate instead of in the baseline, so he wouldn't get called for catcher's interference. The Royals tried to challenge it to see if they can get it overturned. They did not. So great play on all ends there. But that game should have never got out of hand there. I mean, Sam Henches came in, wasn't his best stuff. Aniel De Los Santos came in. First ball by Matt Duffy was absolutely smoked, I should say, off the bat of Michael Garcia. Can't let those things happen to the Royals. You can't have the bullpen was good the first couple of times out the series, but things got really dicey there. Morgan, Henches, and De Los Santos all had to deal with some issues after. And look, things got blown up a little bit on Williams in the last inning there, too. He was an out shy of a quality start, but he did get his first major league win. But that game never should have got out of hand. They had Brady Singer with 6 runs. They luckily were able to pull away at the expense of old buddy Nick Whitgren, who loved Nick Whitgren as the person. Glad the Guardians able to take advantage. And it was a good offensive day. I mean, Jose Ramirez hit the ball well. Josh Bell did some good things in that game. The Naylors combined for 6 runs and 4 RBIs. It was the Naylor game. Med Rosario had 3 hits. I mean, the Guardians were doing everything they offensively they needed to. And they drew 4 walks in that game because Brady Singer was not on the plate at all, but he only had 1 walk. The rest of the bullpen each had a walk. Overall, that was a good offensive approach. Never should have got that close. That's not something you want to see against the Royals, especially when the bullpen, the rest of the series was so good, especially on Sunday behind Shane Bieber. You had a really good outing from Nick Sandlin and a really good outing from Tim Herron. So hopefully that's just a one-day blip. I want to talk about Josh Naylor a little bit too, and how much I've really enjoyed watching him lately, especially that Saturday game where he was getting a couple of hits and especially 2 strike hits from him. Josh Naylor has really turned into, I want to say, kind of a complete hitter before our eyes this season. He is starting to hit lefties, especially lately and later in the season. His OPS against lefties up to 752. The average and OBP are still down a little bit there, but slugging percentage is good. He's playable against left-handers now. You don't have to sit him anymore. He is kind of a complete hitter. 4 of his 11 homers against left-handers this year, including 1 this series as well. I mean, everything is going right for him. We know he struggled in April, May 890 OPS, June 923 OPS, July 950 so far. Everything is going in the right direction for Josh Naylor. Would you love him to walk a little more? Yeah, I guess you would, but that's kind of what makes Josh Naylor a good hitter. And it's so funny how different he and Bo Naylor are as hitters. Whereas I feel like Bo sometimes is trying to walk, and I feel like Josh is always trying to hit. And both of them could, benefit a little from stealing a little bit more from each other's approach. Because I feel like Bo does a good job getting down 0-2 and getting the count back to 3-2. Kind of like, Carlos Santana at times, who I think might be a good offensive comp for Bo Naylor, to be honest with you, because even though he's not a switch hitter, there's power, there's patience, there's a little bit of contact ability, not as good as Josh Naylor, who, man, has been I don't want to say hit over power guy, because he's always had great raw power, 70-grade raw power, but he had such a hard time getting to his power because the launch angle would always be low. He'd always be hitting a lot of ground balls, running high ground ball rates. This year, I don't want to say best, it is best fly ball rate of Josh Naylor's career, 37%, almost 38% fly balls, 22% line drives, career low 40.4% ground ball rate. He is getting to more of that power in game. That's why you're seeing the slugging percentage go up. That's why I feel like he's hitting lefties better too, because he's able to elevate the ball, especially to the pull side a little more. Strikeout rate remains unchanged. That's what's most impressive to me, is that his strikeout rate continues to be 16%, which is phenomenal. Anything below 20% in today's game, to me, even, with the banning of the shift. I mean, Josh Naylor's average on balls in play has gone up. That's definitely contributing here. But, the rules are the rules, and you got to play within the rules. And there's no crime or shame in him benefiting from those rules if that's what's happening here. The average on balls in play, definitely a career high for him. But look, he's also getting the ball in the air more. When you hit less ground balls, you're not relying on, you're not letting guys, hitting out of the shift. So even if the shift was still around, perhaps he's hitting less into it this year. So when you're getting the ball off the ground, this launch angle up to 14.4, we talk about how much this matters. And Josh Naylor, also exit velocity matters. 55th percentile, not fantastic, right in the middle. It's still a light tinge of red. It's pink on Savant. Max exit velocity, 79th percentile. Hard hit rate, 68th percentile. Expected slugging, everything is red except for that walk rate and the chase rate, which makes Josh Naylor even more phenomenal. But why is he a good prototype as a Guardians hitter? Because he has the kind of profile the Guardians should be looking for more of. Yes, he has always made good contact, and that's what they want. But he's always had good raw power. And I don't know, he's just a good example. Jose Ramirez has been a unicorn type hitter since he came up or since he broke out in 2016. Jose Ramirez's are very, very hard to replicate. Okay. He is a special player who, I don't want to say self-made, but the guy really is, a great story. Those are hard to replicate. Josh Naylor, on the other hand, is a great talent, good athlete, hard worker, but the high contact rate, the chase rate, these are guys that they have really invested in quite a bit. I mean, you've got guys up and down the lineup who we've talked about it multiple times in the show who chase a little too much. That's been a problem for them, but he's always run high contact rates. He did always have above average raw power and even 70 grade raw power if he can get to it. But he has made being an aggressive hitter work. He doesn't walk a ton. He walks, just enough. He still chases out of the strike zone a little bit, and it's working for him. The Oscar Gonzalez's, the Will Brennans, other guys in the system who could really benefit from seeing the kind of stuff he's done this year. I feel like Tyler Freeman, getting the ball in the air more. He doesn't have the raw power that Josh Naylor does, but there are a lot of traits that Josh Naylor has that the Guardians have invested in this system, and it's a lot of high contact, not so patient hitters, and they don't have the raw power that Josh Naylor has. Josh Naylor represents kind of the best of both worlds here. He makes that kind of quote unquote unicorn profile work better than most guys do. Like Oscar Gonzalez, I think is a lot like Josh Naylor in some ways. It just took Josh Naylor a lot of time to get where he is, and has a lot of patience. he didn't really develop until he was a lot older, and power hitters do that sometimes. I just think he's a good case for the type of hitter the Guardians should go after. Yeah, he's not an up the middle player. Doesn't play center field. Doesn't play second base or shortstop. He's a corner guy, but you can find corner guys with high contact profiles, with good raw power. You've just got to be able to find a way to work with them and let them develop and stick with them. I mean, this could be the same case as Nolan Jones. I don't think Nolan Jones runs the contact rates that Josh Naylor does, and he may never. And he's also very passive, so different hitters. But it's just the point that when you find this kind of profile, it's okay to take them. You don't have to be up the middle all the time. You don't have to take every contact for a shortstop. As I mentioned this, as the draft is going to be going on or has already happened, you probably already know the Guardians' first pick. I'm recording this before they did. So like a guy like that, if Brock Wilken or Nolan Chanel could be types like that. But there are ways to do it. And the Guardians, I feel like, look, Josh Naylor was picked 12th overall. The Guardians tend to pick in the 18 to 24 range, depending on how good they are each year. They were able to do this with Chase DeLauder, who, by the way, had 3 doubles on Sunday, and he's looking fantastic at Lake County right now. That's a good sign. I just feel like this is the kind of profile they can be looking for. You can find guys that are slightly aggressive hitters, and you can find guys that have contact and raw power. Like, it just took Josh Naylor some time to learn to get to that power. You don't have to find guys that are, lower in exit velocity but high contact and teach them power. Josh Naylor is a great example of this. He came in as a guy who, didn't strike out a lot, and he still doesn't, but he has good raw power, and he's now getting to it. He's become a kind of a complete hitter in front of our eyes this season. I feel like this type does exist. The Guardians do have types like this in the system. They just have, I think a lot of guys in the system could benefit from doing the things Josh Naylor has, and the Guardians could also benefit from identifying more of these types. They don't have to be just up the middle players all the time who can maybe move off and play their better position and run high contact rates. You don't need 9 Stephen Kwans. Josh Naylor could be an exemplary type of hitter that they can capitalize on. I feel like the Jose Ramirez and the Francisco Lindor situation, I feel like that's what pushed the Guardians to move into this type of hitter a little bit. I know they started doing this before with like other hitters, but I feel like that's the kind of profile that made them buy into going this route a little bit and where the game is going. But I feel like Josh Naylor kind of represents the best of both worlds. And you can find that. I know it's harder to find where the Guardians pick sometimes, but this is a guy they could look at and say, okay, other type of players could benefit from seeing what he's done. We could use what he has done and his approach and who he is as a player. And you got to scout players individually, but the kind of hitter he has become could be a prototype for the Guardians to go after coming up in years, and someone they should definitely look to be a jumping off point, because he has become a big part of their lineup this season. And this is a guy who's gone from a severe injury to some people thought he might have been DFA'd after that year. And they've been patient and give Tino credit for putting him against lefties. He's made it work. So this is a guy they should capitalize on and maybe try to turn into an example of future hitters they should go after. All right. Going to ask some questions with the second half after this and just some final thoughts on the draft and see if I get these right, because most people listening to this after the draft already happened. So I'll just give my thoughts on that as we wrap up the show and head into the second half of the season. Want a chance to win more money with less picks? Head to Sleeper, where you can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. If you like a hitter who's swinging hot, maybe you want to bet on Josh Naylor coming out of the All-Star break. Maybe you want to bet on somebody who hasn't had a great first half. Julio Rodriguez, not had a great first half. Sometimes people think the home run derby ruins guys' swings. I think there's enough evidence to say that they have not ruined guys' swings. Maybe he can use it as a jumping off point in the second half. You can bet on Julio Rodriguez to hit more home runs, less home runs in a game, strikeouts, hits with Sleeper. Use promo code Locked On. You'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. Guardians won't be back in action until Friday against the Rangers, but you may be able to check out some all-star action on SiriusXM by searching for that, and you might be able to search for Guardians on Friday facing the Rangers as well. Second half, I don't know what's going to happen with this team coming in the second half. Will they trade Shane Bieber? Will they not? I don't know. Where I'm kind of at with this right now is I feel like the Guardians are better with Shane Bieber on their team going into after the All-Star break than they are without him. Here's why. I think he's had all these third time through the order struggles, absolutely no doubt. And I think that's going to be a reason why teams aren't going to go out and offer a whole lot for Shane Bieber. Now, look, if somebody comes away and blows the Guardians' doors off, as they always say, with an offer, I do think they should take it because the Guardians have shown a really good propensity for getting out under pitchers at the right time. Kluber, Clevenger, Bauer, Carrasco, as much as we all like those guys and they were big parts of Cleveland at one time or another, more so Clevenger for who he brought back, Josh Naylor, who we just talked about. The Guardians do need to get out here at some point on Shane Bieber. Things are not going in the right direction for him. And I tend to think that if the Guardians can't turn somebody around pitching-wise, I don't know who's going to. Clevenger, Kluber, Carrasco, and Bauer have not been better since leaving Cleveland. You could argue that Bauer won the 2020 Cy Young and, whatever. He did, and we could, other things going on there. But those guys have not gotten better since they left Cleveland. Shane Bieber's had a lot of innings. He has not been the same since the shoulder injury. They need to get out at some point instead of just letting him walk because I do think if they were to hold on to him for the next two turns and offer him the qualifying offer, I think he would turn it down and another team would offer him a contract and the Guardians would get a pick for that. But what if he gets hurt next year? And he takes that, and he would take the qualifying offer because he's hurt and he wants to rebuild his value, right? Guardians can't afford that. Absolutely not. And I don't think they'll want to be stuck with that either. So, and pitchers just get hurt. So, yeah, that is the biggest question going in the second half is will they or won't they with Bieber? I don't think a team is going to come out there and offer. I know a lot of people want him to go to the Orioles for Heston Kjerstad. I don't think that's going to be Colton Cowser. He's up with the Orioles now. I just don't see a team out there who really needs a pitcher like Bieber or it's going to trade the kind of things the Cleveland needs. You're not getting that power hitting outfield. I'm sorry, you're just not. I think the Guardians at best, if they make a move, are going to get like a Brandon Guyer, Ryan Rayburn type hitter. I think we'll talk more about this as on podcasts during the All-Star break because I know Jeff won't want to talk about the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, even though I love the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby, even though it could use improvements. I talked about that. The Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Rangers could all use Shane Bieber. The Orioles could even use Shane Bieber. The Reds, I guess, could, but I don't see them making a push for him, truthfully. The Brewers could. I would love to go in and get like Joey Weimer from the Brewers or something if they could. I just don't see it happening. The Cardinals, I think the Cardinals, they're 11.5 out. They're dead in the water. They're done. They're not paying anything for Shane Bieber. I wouldn't. Why would they? If I was the Cardinals, I'd re-rack the deck and try again next year. That team's terrible right now. I just don't see a team paying what the Guardians will want to get from Shane Bieber. We know they are so steadfast at setting their price and not moving off of it. And they're not going to get the value they should from Shane Bieber because he hasn't pitched well. And I'd hate to trade him for, pennies. I don't want to say pennies in the dollar because he's not that bad. He's still a good pitcher. He's just not the pitcher he once was at this point. He's better for them this season than he is whatever he's going to get back for them at this point, honestly, because the Tristan McKenzie situation is, precarious at best. He could be out for the season at this point. He might be out for all of next season. You deal with next season and the off season. I'd say, Aaron Savali stepping up would be a huge boost for them, but Aaron Savali's injury prone. What's going to happen for him? They're trying to manage their innings with Logan Allen and Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams. Logan Allen went down and threw 50 pitches in 3 innings earlier this week. So he's still working on being more efficient, getting deeper into games. They're going to probably try to do the same thing with Bybee and Williams at some point as well. It's hard to do that with Tristan McKenzie out and trading Shane Bieber, and Aaron Savali's a wild card. Cal Quantrill's a wild card because he's hurt again or can't figure things out. You don't have any depth. You have Hunter Gaddis and Joey Cantillo, which, by the way, I will point out, Joey Cantillo, fantastic. Inning and 2/3, 2 strikeouts and a walk in the Futures game Saturday night, up to 97-98 with the fastball. Fantastic to see. I'd also caution that was a 5-batter stint, so he kind of aired it out a little bit. and was able to throw, a little bit harder. He's typically more like 92, 95, but he can't hit that. So we know it's in there. That's good. Maybe he gets a shot in the second half. I don't know. I think there's still some control issues there, but I wouldn't mind seeing him get a taste at this point. Cody Morris is up. Maybe they stretch him back out, but it doesn't seem like they want to test those waters right now, which I understand. So your depth isn't there in the minor leagues right now. I guess in theory you could get a pitcher back for Shane Bieber if you trade him, and that could, kind of refresh your depth a little bit. But I just don't think the price is going to wind up justifying the move for them. I think he is better he's better for them to be on their team the rest of the season, go for a shot at the playoffs, let what happens happens. Maybe you add a right-handed hitting outfielder who can play some first base. I don't know. Josh Bell's looked a little better in recent days. He's got to have a great second half, not only for the Guardians, but if he wants to opt out of his contract and get a better contract in the offseason, Josh Bell needs to go bananas in the second half. Will Brennan, I need to see it, but he's been better lately. I need to see a better approach from him. Andres Jimenez was great to end the first part of the season. I want to see more from him. Jose Ramirez, continuing in the second half. Are we going to see more of Tyler Freeman? I don't know. Stephen Kwan's been better in July. Let's see more of him in the second half. Can he come along? We're going to wait for Bo Naylor's development in the second half. Can Josh Naylor keep up the streak? Can he become the prototype hitter I talked about? I don't know. There's a lot of questions to answer in the second half. But I think with the way the pitching stands right now, Shane Bieber is better for the Guardians on their team right now than what it'll bring back. I don't think that the offers that are going to be out there for Shane Bieber, truthfully, are going to be any better right now than they are in December or January. I do think they should trade him in December or January because next year is a whole different calculus. And I don't think the offers, yes, you can only offer him for one playoff run, but I think the offer isn't going to be substantially less than it is right now because he is who he is, unless the team really buys into him being better. And as I said, if they get a great offer, they should take it. I just don't believe that offer exists. And I think that they're better with him on their team right now in the second half than they are with every return they can get for him. We'll see. Like I said, a lot of questions to be answered in the second half. The Guardians are in first place. The division's very winnable. I think they'll make a small move to add a right-handed hitter who can hit lefties, maybe play some outfield, can be a little bit versatile. I think they'll try to find that. The Cardinals could sell. The Athletics don't have anybody. I don't know about the Rockies. There's Brendan Rodgers or Ryan McMahon, but Ryan McMahon's left-handed. I know we had some questions there. The Nationals have nothing left. Jeimer Candelario is a left-handed hitter. I don't know. I don't know that a player out there exists for them. I think it's really going to be focused on a good second half from Josh Bell, keeping Kwan and Jimenez trending back towards major league average, and hoping the bullpen is rocked and ready to go in the second half, and hope that Bieber improves over the break. We'll see. A lot of questions to answer, as I said. Stay tuned for draft content from Jeff on this channel. All week. We'll be back with your regular shows on Wednesday as well, including draft content. Subscribe, like, share. Go Guardians, go.